Hello and welcome to this edition of the Fourth Gear presented by Classic Auto Insurance. My name is Jeff Broadus. I'll be your host. And today we are with Mark Lizewskie. Am I saying that right, Mark?
Absolutely.
You are the executive director of the Rolls-Royce Club, Rolls-Royce Owners Club. And it's actually Rolls-Royce and Bentley. Is that correct?
That's correct. And our name is the Rolls-Royce Owners Club. But because Rolls-Royce owned Bentley for about 70 years, we certainly would, enjoy having those cars and those enthusiasts as part of our club. I'm also the executive director for the Rolls-Royce Foundation, which is our sister organization. They're two separate nonprofits. The club, obviously is dedicated towards enthusiasts and owners, whereas the foundation is more historical research and those type of library skills.
Now, we go back a ways. When I first met you, you were managing the Jack Rich collection. And this is a collection of cars. I was blown away the first time, and I only saw a portion of it. Where did you gain all this knowledge of so many makes and models of cars? This man had everything. I mean, antique, classic, you name it, this guy had it. I mean, I'm talking Bugattis, Packards, a Simplex. It goes on and on. Cars that I've never even heard of. Where did you gain all this knowledge?
So I was always the kid in high school that was picked last when they divided up sports team. I can't throw a ball to save my life. I've always been a car guy. It's always been my passion. So, while everybody else was trying out for the team and involved, I mean, my hobby is my job and is my life. So it's what I do.
And you're blessed, much like I am, that I get to work in the hobby that I enjoy so much. That it doesn't happen. You don't wake up in the morning loving your job. And I realize all of our jobs and careers have a lot of challenges, but to wake up knowing I'm going to talk about cars every single day to somebody is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love all cars. I personally try to gravitate towards the goofy stuff, but certainly being able to represent Rolls-Royce and Bentley is a great thing.
What is the goofy stuff?
Micro cars, just the oddball stuff. I mean, gremlins are cool, or the even something as bizarre as the Superfly Cadillacs that were made. All that stuff is fascinating to me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Ford and Chevys, but I've always been the guy that just hey, that's a Yugo,
And all that knowledge has sure helped you. I've seen you out in the field. I've been with you. We've judged at Concours together. You also had a hand in the AACA museum, director over there. You actually a couple of museum experience and a restoration shop, which I can't imagine the experience there of having to know, again, so many different makes and models, all the different marks, and what's required to bring those cars back to how they came out of the factory. Because in a lot of instances, it's challenging to find research on a lot of these cars, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And, a big part of a quality restoration is the research. You want to make sure that you've got the right finish on the bolts or the right type of bolts or hardware. And, if you've got a good machinist, you make those things that they don't exist. So, you want to make sure you've got the right period colors. You want to make sure that, hey, it's got even the right engine or the right carburetor or the right style of lights. And, you try to start off with a car with good bones that has all that stuff. But so many cars, especially the cars that I dealt with, pre-war cars, stuff like that, they've gone through numerous owners and they made a lot of changes. And we always tried to restore those back to the way the car was presented as new. So you wanted to make sure it had the right finish for the frame. And that frame finish may not have been the same finish that was on the engine or the alternator or the generator or, any of that stuff. So, so that was always the fun part, that Sherlock Holmes looking for clues and things like that, and I think that's, obviously one of the rewarding parts about doing a quality restoration.
See, being a little bit of a geeky kid actually played out well for you.
Absolutely. Like I said, I wasn't involved in sports. So, I was always, reading shop manuals and car books and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I've been training for this job all my life.
Now, as the director, what is kind of your daily activities? What do you do? What is your function when you get up in the morning? You come into the office. Where do you start?
So, this is one of those jobs that I never know where the day's going to take me. I think I may have a plan, and certainly we have a schedule, but just one phone call and one email could put me in a different direction. And certainly, we are membership focused, and we cater to our members, needs and that sort of deal. We put on publications and things like that. So we have a printing schedule, and all about that. You're always working months in advance. We put on seminars, we put on large scale events, annual meets and tours. So there's always something in the planning stage. There's always not just one thing, it's always multiple things. I mean, right now, I'm planning for not only board meetings, and I've got 2 spring small, what we call mini meets coming up. We've got tours. We got 3 tours this year. We've got our large annual meet in San Diego. So, I mean, that's just stuff that's sort of on the front burner right now. And, we're already planning our 2023 and 2024 annual meets. So it's, we do a lot of long range, event planning, and, as I said, with our publications and everything like that, it certainly keeps us quite busy.
And the advantage of being a member of the Rolls-Royce Owners Club, even if you don't have a Rolls-Royce or Bentley automobile, you could still be a member. You can still benefit from all your archives. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So it really is open. You really open yourself up to welcoming all kinds of enthusiasts as well as actual owners. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, our name says owners, but we cater to enthusiasts. And I always tell people, if they're looking to buy a Rolls-Royce or Bentley, join the club and do your research. It's like anything else. The cheapest Rolls-Royce you buy may be the most expensive one. It's just the nature of the beast of a low production car. And I don't care if it's, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Ferrari, or whatever, they're all in that same, mindset. But, one of the things that the Rolls-Royce Owners Club does is provide a lot of technical support. I mean, we aim to keep these cars running and driving, and our members are very focused on that. We do have our trailer queens, but most of our members drive their cars. And, our cars really, because of the complex hydraulics in some of the cars from the late 60s on, they need to be driven. And they can become very bulletproof once they're properly maintained. But, if you buy one with a lot of needs, and you're a novice, it's not going to be like overhauling the brake system on a Ford Pinto or something like that. I mean, they're extremely complicated cars. And what we don't want is for people to get a bad taste of their mouth for their first experience in Rolls-Royce or Bentley ownership.
Because there are a lot of Rolls-Royce and Bentley vehicles that are affordable, under the $50,000 range. And there's a lot of cars that are affordable. This is some of the challenges. They are a little more expensive to maintain, a little more challenging to find parts for. And that's where a network, a club is, it's your best friend.
It is. And like I said, we, technical support and advice. We've got a whole list of technical advisors. These are professionals. Some of them run their independent shops. Yeah, it's, like I said, we try to be your one-stop shopping source. At least we don't sell parts, but we have, those sources where you can get parts. And, a lot of, when you said earlier about what does my day bring, sometimes it's just talking to somebody, trying to give them technical support or where to go to get the proper technical support. Rolls-Royce isn't like a Ford Mustang or a Chevy Chevelle or something like that. You just can't roll into Napa or find a dealer or something like that on every corner. It's a very small market. And certainly, all of the key people that are going to help you keep your car running and give you that advice.
And now, is there a specific year that you guys cater to, or is it from brand new all the way back to a silver?
It's from the beginning of time. When Rolls-Royce started in 1904 and Bentley started in 1919, all the way up to brand new 2022. So we don't discriminate. It's a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley, and whatever you got we'll be happy to welcome you into the mix.
And now, touring in one of those cars is fun. A few years ago, probably maybe 12 years ago, I was able to tour in a Bentley Algier convertible. And the nice part about it was I had all of the bells and whistles of a newer, more modern car, unlike some of the classic Rolls-Royce that, they fought to drive the car. It was a cool experience, but it was completely different, yet we were all welcomed as one, which is a credit to you.
Yep. You are completely correct. It's like, I don't care if you've got a brand new Phantom or a Phantom from the late 20s, it's all very cool. One of the things that we do in the Rolls-Royce Owners Club is that, we have regions like every other car club does, but we all actually have societies that are dedicated to that specific era of cars. So if you've got a Phantom 1, we've got a society for that. If you've got a Silver Cloud, we've got a society for that. So, if you've got a Silver Cloud and you join the Silver Cloud Society, you're amongst those people that have the same type of car. And, and they focus, especially on a technical level, on those cars. So we provide that extra layer of information for you.
The Silver Cloud was Silver Cloud 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And those were basically 60s cars, pretty much. Maybe late 50s, but
yeah, mid 50s till like 65, 66 when the Silver Shadow took over. So right. Those are the cars that I think the Silver Clouds, when people think of Rolls-Royce, they think of the Silver Cloud. Certainly anybody that's ever seen a Grey Poupon commercial thinks of that era of Rolls-Royce.
Right. So we were talking about tours just a bit. Tell me a little bit about what goes on with a typical tour. How many cars do you get? What's the era of cars? Tell me a little bit. You said you've got one coming up this year in San Diego, correct?
Oh, so we've got an annual meet coming up in San Diego, but our tours, we typically have a spring tour and a fall tour. Could be in various parts of the country. For the most part, they are open to anybody that has a Rolls-Royce or Bentley. We do have a dedicated vintage tour, which is pre-war cars only because they travel at a little bit slower pace, and sometimes they don't have the hill climbing capacity as some of the modern cars. But most of our tours, it's a mix. So people could have a Silver Ghost or a Phantom 1 from the early era all the way up to a brand new, I said Continental GT or something like that. And every tour is different. So some could be a hub tour where you have one common hotel and you go out every day and come back again. Or there's a point to point and some of our point to points are quite extensive. You could start in Texas, go up to Colorado, and then end up in Albuquerque or something like that. It's a really every one of it is quite unique.
Now, does someone from the club, on your capacity, do you participate in every one of these tours?
I don't. I'm not an active participant right there. I mean, like I'm a driver. I want to be able to have my own car, and I certainly administer it and help the people, the boots on the ground volunteers that are doing that. But when it comes to tours, I'm really not in a position at this point in time of my life to be able to do that, as much as I would love to. The annual meets and the small mini meets where we partner with an existing car show, those I'm there to lend support and certainly like that.
Tell me about some of the big plans of the club. I know that the club, since you have been at the helm, has taken on a little bit of a different focus. I saw the publication, The Flying Lady. You guys are continually improving upon that and that publication. Tell me a little bit about where you were when you started and what your vision is for the club.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a person, as you know, that likes to sit still. Certainly, we're always looking to improve. I mean, we don't have, a huge membership like, maybe the BMW Club or the Mercedes Club or the AACA. I mean, obviously we're a very small group of cars and hence the members, but we're always looking to enhance those memberships, and whether it's through an updated website, whether it's reproducing shop manuals, whether it's reproducing, all sorts of things, for our members. We're always looking to enhance what we have. I think we've got a good model to begin with, but certainly we don't rest on our laurels. And, anybody that knows me, the one phrase I hate to hear is, well, we've always done it that way. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with tradition, but it certainly can always be improved on.
And we're definitely the next generation kind of moving into these positions, helping to govern and drive these clubs, where giving it more exposure, utilizing technology. It's what it takes today to make a club. And you talk about a small membership, but 6,000 or 8,000 people is still a lot of people. Especially for a mark as specific as Rolls-Royce and Bentley. So, and to hold those numbers and to continually grow that membership, it's a huge credit to you, Mark.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, like I said, it's every day is a challenge, but every day is fun.
So as we kind of wrap things up here a little bit, tell me about perhaps one of the most unusual, maybe even humorous experiences you've had since you've assumed this position.
Well, let me think of something that I could actually tell you without getting in trouble. No, I think certainly, challenging has certainly been COVID. Our annual meet in 2021 was in Lake George, New York. And up until, the week before, the month before, we didn't know it was going to happen. So we had been planning this all along. I'm a Lake George native, so I was actually the chairperson for this meet, 320 miles away. So, there was a lot of interesting points, but you learn to fly by the seat of your pants and make contingency plans.
Is that kind of the new normal, fly by the seat of your pants?
It's I think in this day and age, if you aren't flexible, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It's just I don't even know how to plan for what's going to happen tomorrow, because as soon as I think, yeah, we're going to do that, the rules change, as we all know. And certainly, this has been a learning experience for all of us. And, I think adaptation is the rule of living today.
So for anyone that's interested in joining the club, what should they do?
Sure, you can go to our website, which is www.rroc.org. You can log in and join right from there. When you join, you will certainly we will gladly welcome you in. We will give you if you're here in North America, a free 1 year's dues membership to your local region. You can always reach out and talk to us. I mean, we're an office that runs here full time. Give us a call, if you have any questions, even before you want to join, if you want to learn something about what you're going to get. I mean, certainly we give you the magazines, the Flying Lady, the Wing Bee, which is a Bentley dedicated magazine, all of that technical information. We have a forum that's exclusive to members only, and you're not going to get information on an in-depth, detail like you are through our forum. I mean, these are the people that are really, really involved in the Rolls-Royce and Bentley world.
Now, is there a different membership for the club than the foundation, which you mentioned earlier?
Yes, so there are two separate organizations. So if you want to be a member of the foundation, that is a separate membership. And, primarily what the foundation does is provide chassis research on your individual car. We have virtually all the records, the build sheets, and everything from pretty much every car that's ever been made. So, if you just stumbled across a 67 Silver Shadow that you bought, or a 40 pre-war car, give us a call, give the foundation a call. We probably have the original build sheets, and sometimes warranty history from a car. It's interesting to see, from when you start looking through these records, especially, you see these famous names, Hollywood moguls and, royalty and things like that, captains of industry, and you start looking at all of the details and the orders and the warranty work and the back and forth correspondence. It's really fascinating, and you sort of get caught up in that while you're doing the research. So it's not just a build sheet. In some cases, there's a lot of correspondence and some really cool stuff. And
your registry lists not only all of the members, but it also lists the cars that they own.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, for those who want their names published. Yeah. So we published an annual directory and register that lists all of our members and their cars. And we don't, we keep track of the cars even when a member no longer, has that car or whatever, because a lot of times they sell it to, a fellow member. So we track those cars. We have a huge database. I mean, our membership and motor car list, just the motor car list alone, is probably about 21,000 cars.
Wow, it's very impressive.
Yeah,
very.
And even if that car leaves the membership, we don't purge it, because sooner or later it may come back.
Now, as we wrap things up here, again, somebody's looking to buy a car. They're thinking about what should they think about? What should be their priorities when they're thinking about purchasing a Rolls-Royce or Bentley automobile?
Sure. Well, first of all, as I said, join the club and do your homework. Ask questions. Get the chassis research from the foundation. Find out about previous ownership. Certainly, maintenance history and service records are the most important thing in some cases, especially with the cars from the Silver Shadows and newer. Those cars need to be maintained and need to be driven. Otherwise, it could be a very expensive proposition. And people, if you don't understand just how expensive these cars can be if they're not maintained, and deferred maintenance can be a killer. And as we always tell people, please do your homework and ask questions. Reach out to our members through the forum. If you are a member, and say, hey, listen, I just found this car in Chicago. Does anybody know it? And somebody will invariably chime in. Oh yeah, so and so owned this, and it's a really good car. Or, hey, I've seen this car. Stay away from it.
And owning any vehicle, I mean, classic cars are temperamental to begin with, and that is the great part about being part of a club and networking, is that you do benefit from everyone else's knowledge and experience, so you can make a good informed decision.
Absolutely. I said our membership, we have, I said, some very talented, very smart technicians on there, and they will gladly help you. And of course, they will also book appointment into your shop and work on that. But they're very, very courteous and very, as I said, they're very knowledgeable. We want your Rolls-Royce or Bentley experience and ownership experience to be a positive one. And as I said, unfortunately, I do see that people, hey, I just bought this car at auction. I paid, a very great rate for it, and they take it to a repair facility, and that first repair bill is 3 times what they paid for that car. Right. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want you to be discouraged. We want you to, we want you into our family, and we want you there, for life.
So the easiest, simplest advice you have is know what you want, do your homework before you write the check.
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Mark, this has been a great learning experience for us all. Good luck with the Rolls-Royce Owners Club. I know that they absolutely have the right person at the helm with you, and we wish you the best of luck. And thank you very much for joining us on our program today. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Jeff, and it's an honor to be included. Much appreciated as well.